Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to your virtual library story time. I'm not in the library today, I'm at home. The library video I filmed disappeared on me, so I decided to read the same story that I chose, and it's one that I found in our shelves at the library, and it has a science theme, but it is fiction, so it's called Rafflesia, the rare plant. And I don't know how many of you have ever actually seen a Rafflesia in bloom. I was fortunate enough to see one about 2 or 3 years ago now, over near Kota Kinabalu. And they're very unique, but we have a lot of really unique and special plants here in Brunei as well. So after you listen to this story, I want you to try and find some information about a very unique and special plant here in Brunei. All right, Rafflesia, the rare plant. In the forest, there lives a naughty little orangutan. One day, he quietly goes away from his mother. He plays on his own around the forest. Suddenly, the little orangutan sees something strange. He stops and takes a closer look. There is a creeping plant, the woody stem of which is lying on the ground. A flowering bud, purplish brown in color and as big as a human fist, grows on the stem. The little orangutan thinks, "It's strange, why does this bud grow on a creeping plant and not on the treetop?" A few days later, the little orangutan walks past the same place again. Wow, the bud has bloomed. It has now changed into a very big flower. The little orangutan is very excited. He quickly goes home to tell his mother about the big flower. He wants his mother to come along and have a look. Pointing to the big flower, the little orangutan says, "Mommy, what flower is it? How does it get so big?" And that is somewhat actual size. They can be huge. The mother orangutan says with a smile, "Son, this is a rare flower, which is called the Rafflesia." "The Rafflesia must be the biggest flower in the world," exclaims the little orangutan, stretching out his arms. He uses his arms to measure the big flower. He says, "It is as wide as my open arms." The mother orangutan nods as she says, "Only animals like us who live deep in the forest have a chance to see this big flower." The little orangutan asks, "Mommy, how do the Rafflesia plants grow?" "These plants grow deep inside the roots or stems of some creeping plants," answers the mother orangutan. "They can only be seen when they bloom." "Why must they grow deep inside the body of other plants?" asks the little orangutan. The mother orangutan says, "A Rafflesia plant has no leaves, no roots, and no stems. It cannot make its own food or take from the soil the nutrients it needs. So it has to live on another plant, that is the creeping plant, to absorb the nutrients from it in order to grow." So it actually takes on a host and almost steals the nutrients from another plant. "How long will it take to bloom after the plant has been living inside the other plant?" asks the little orangutan. "It takes about 9 months for the Rafflesia plant to grow before it blooms," says the mother orangutan. "But it blooms for only 1 week and only once in its lifetime." The little orangutan says sadly, "What a pity, it only lasts a short time." Just then, there comes a swarm of flies. They fly into the inner part of the flower and suck the juices produced by the flower. Do you know what we call plants that actually end up using other insects, using other animals as food? Carnivorous plants, meat-eating plants. The mother orangutan says, when the big flower blooms, it gives out a bad smell like rotting meat. This is to attract flies which come to feed on its juices, and this helps in pollinating the plant. Since the Rafflesia plant can grow without making its own food, says the little orangutan, why is it so rare, Mummy? Son, the mother orangutan says, the Rafflesia plants are very rare because quite often, before they bloom, people pluck their buds. This makes the Rafflesia plant almost extinct. The mother orangutan continues, also, the fact that people are cutting down trees for wood has reduced the living space of the Rafflesia plants. Oh, if this continues, says the little orangutan, in the future we may not be able to see the big flowers anymore. The mother orangutan nods as she says, that's why we must protect the big flowers for them to keep on growing. All right, so there is some vocabulary at the end. There are a series of these science stories in the library. If you enjoyed this, you might want to have a look. I can show you where to find more. And I hope you learned something. I know I did reading this plant. I didn't realize that they grew on the roots of creeping plants and that they didn't have their own leaves or roots, so they have to take the food from other plants. And I want you to try and do some research and learn about a rare, so not a common, a rare or unique or special plant found here in Brunei. Okay, and maybe write a couple of sentences and maybe even draw a picture. That would be fantastic. All right, guys, I hope you're enjoying your home study and trying to find ways to read. And I hope you enjoyed today's book, Rafflesia, the Rare Plant. I'll see you next week. Until then, Salam Alaikum.